Edo State Governor visits his Kano counterpart, promises that justice will prevail in the tragic case involving killing of travelers en route to Kano. NITE recovers $4.85 billion owed federal government by oil and gas companies. Renewed Hope Agric support initiative of the wife of the president empowers women and young farmers in Ebonyi State. This is the news on NTA News 24. We're joining you live in Abuja. I am Comfort Fashion. Good evening. Edo State's Governor, Monday Okpebolo, has assured that justice will prevail in the tragic case involving the recent killing of travelers en route to Kano. The governor made the promise during a sympathy visit to his counterpart, Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, at the Kano Government House. Abdullahi Mustafa completes the story.
For Governors Monday Okpebolo and Abba Kabir Yusuf, this moment stands as both a gesture of compassion and solidarity. Governor Okpebolo's presence spoke volumes of solidarity and sympathy, offering a shared sense of grief.
We have so far arrested about 14 people in connection of the killings of these people. The Inspector General have directed the DIG, CID at the Force Headquarters, Abuja, to take over the investigation.
So the good people of the state, the families of the deceased, and all of us appreciate your concern.
Governor Yusuf also expressed gratitude for President Tinubu's swift and empathetic response. Leaders from both the Hausa and Edo communities in the states pledged their loyalty and cooperation with the governments of their host states. As at the time of this report, the two governors are on their way from Torankawa village in Bunkuro local government area, where they condoled with the bereaved families. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
The Renewed Hope Agric support initiative of the wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, which kicked off last year with capacity building lectures on best farming practices and empowerment, is gravitating towards the intended objective of raising citizens who can cultivate beyond what to eat to commercial and export purposes. Caleb Ogbonna reports that the second edition of the program in Ebonyi State witnessed the empowerment of 100 women and 300 young farmers.
Renewed Hope Agric support initiative of the wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, championed by the wife of Ebonyi State Governor Uzamaka Nwifuru in the state, through her Bewo Foundation with the aim of engendering food security, economic growth and tackling unemployment, is on course, following the empowerment of 100 women, 300 young farmers and 30 youths on sustainable farm practices, financial literacy and marketing strategies.
The Renewed Hope Agricultural Support Program represents a beacon of hope for women in agriculture and youths looking for empowerment within the agricultural sector,
to enhance their livelihood and contribute to the food security in Nigeria.
We'll give them money and seedlings and inputs you can see packed here to start their own farms.
The initiative, which participants insist will further enhance Ebonyi State position in food sufficiency, promote agro-business and improve the economy, centered on rice and cassava best practices, bag yam technology, backyard garden farming, among others.
I am no longer going to be limited by scarcity of land to farm. So that is the key thing I've taken away from here.
Before, I don't even know that they used to cultivate yam in a bag, and it used to save time, it saves stress.
The Agric Support Program of the wife of the president, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, with lecture series on the most effective ways of farming, designed not only to end hunger and food insecurity, but to raise young farmers who will focus on aggressive farming towards food sufficiency. In Abakaliki, Caleb Obonna, NTA News.
Advocates of maternal and child health have continued to ensure evolution in the use of artistic designs to highlight challenges causing high maternal mortality in Nigeria and are recommending interventions to reverse the trend. Oluseyi Adiagbo reports on the correlation of using art aesthetic in meeting the healthcare needs of both mother and child.
Womanhood Arts Gala, an initiative of the Nigerian Health Watch, a health communication and advocacy organization, is using the power of art as a catalyst for change, with optimism that amplifying women's voices will inspire action.
No more too late. No more packing bodies, whispering goodbyes. No more wishing, no more guessing. Her well-being in her own hands. My mother spoke of today.
Artistic display in its various forms highlights the critical need for better healthcare access on reproductive rights. Umar Muhammad, a visual artist and an assistant manager with the Nigerian Television Authority NTA, there watching our painting.
It evolves around maternal health care and how important it is for you to have the right and complete immunization for your child. When you do that, you're going to automatically have a golden birth. And the name of the painting is The Golden Birth.
The 2025 Womanhood Arts Gala, which is the third in its series, is themed
Her Voice, celebrating the strength of women, her voice in every action, in every story. In order to improve maternal health outcomes in Nigeria, requires collective action from various stakeholders. It's not just the responsibility or the remit of the health sector. We also have to think about how are we empowering our women, how are we giving them access to the tools they need to ensure that they're able to take care of themselves.
Without women's health, we cannot have empowered women, and women cannot contribute adequately to the community and the society at large.
A lot of women are here. Young girls are here. So the awareness is very key because they will now be psychologically prepared.
It's a very good advocacy engagement. So with this artwork, it will have an indelible mark in their memories.
Responses of key players in Nigeria's maternal and child health applauding the Womanhood Arts Gala initiative that has continued to create a platform for women and young girls to engage in discussions about their own health and well-being. In Abuja, Oluseyi Adiagbo, NTA News.
Paying Salah homage to traditional rulers is a vital cultural and political practice that fosters unity, respect and collaboration. Lydia Sampson visited Jiwa community on the outskirts of Abuja and reports on of a legacy of hope and extraordinary Salah tradition of togetherness.
Traditional rulers are revered as custodians of heritage and spiritual leaders embodying the divine representation of their communities. 11-year-old Diza and Adamu Al-Hassan, who is over 100 years old, told NTA News that Salah celebration in Jiwa is never complete without visiting the palace. Why do you come to the MS Palace every Salah?
We need religious leaders to keep praying for the country.
This art in Jiwa community strengthened ties between government officials, religious institutions and citizens, thereby promoting peace and development. The emir did not mince words in reiterating to his village and ward's heads on the need to lead by example.
Nigeria is one. We should keep away tribal sentiment, religious sentiment, and we have to respect the constitution and the authority.
The homage and meeting over, An age-long tradition of feeding the kingmakers and people of the community was performed.
This tradition has been as long as Jua. Normally, even during the dark days, the emir cooks food on the day of the celebration like this to give it to his people, to identify that it all is well.
It was evident that it also acknowledges the ruler's grassroots influence, which is crucial for conflict resolution and community engagement, as the Dogares, who are in charge of protecting the kings, were at hand to also prevent exposing the king when the need arises. By honoring traditional rulers, societies reinforce their role in preserving traditions and ensuring societal harmony irrespective of differences. Lydia Sampson, TA News.
You're watching the news at 11 on NTA News 24. We take a short break now. To stay with us. Moving on, amid government's search for extra revenue sources to fund budgets, the Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NITI, has announced the recovery of $4.85 billion from unpaid liabilities owed to the federal government by oil and gas companies. Benny Adams reports that NITI is set to publish the latest edition of its industry audit reports in a bid to doing more in blocking leakages for economic growth.
I bring you Salah.
Briefing the media in Abuja, the Executive Secretary of NITI, Dr. Oji Ogbonnaya Oji, says the recovery is part of the total $8.26 billion identified in NITI's 2021 oil and gas audit report. Despite this progress, Oji noted that unresolved financial liabilities remain a major concern, with $6.175 billion and 66.378 billion naira in liabilities disclosed in the 2023 industry reports. He says if converted to naira, the liabilities would amount to 9.33 trillion naira, exceeding the federal government's total budget for health, education, agriculture and food security, and that the liabilities could cover approximately 72% of the federal government's budget deficit for 2025. To this end, NITI is urging relevant government agencies, including the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, to take stronger enforcement actions against defaulters and adopt more stringent measures to prevent future revenue leakages.
NITI recognizes the urgent need for transparency in these transactions to protect national interests, national assets, host community concerns, address host community concerns, and sustain revenue flows.
Oji adds that while the push is on, challenges of institutional constraints, funding limitations, and resistance to change are visible. Hence, the need for collective support from stakeholders to ensure that Nigeria's oil, gas, and mining revenues are managed prudently for the benefit of all citizens.
The job to be done cannot be done by NITI alone. We need the industry, we need government, we need the civil society, and we need the media to forge ahead. So observing governance issues that are either not done or being done or ignored in the sector, NITI cannot be held completely liable. We are all in this together.
In addition to its recovery efforts, NATI plans to broaden its industry-wide reports to include dedicated sections on divestment, forward sales of oil and gas assets, and environmental remediation. This move, he says, aims to strengthen transparency and accountability in the extractive sector. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
President Bola Tinubu has extended the tenure of Controller General of Immigration, Kemi Nandab, until December 31st, 2026. Nandab, who joined the Nigerian Immigration Service in 1989, was appointed Controller General on March 1st, 2024, with an initial tenure set to run until August 31st, 2025. In a statement, Presidential spokesman Bayo Ononuga acknowledged the service progress in border management, immigration modernization, and national security efforts under her leadership. President Tinubu commended her performance and urged her to remain committed to the service's strategic goals in line with his renewed hope agenda. The statement conveys the federal government's commitment to strengthening the Nigeria Immigration Service to ensure secure and well-managed migration. An election observer group, Kimpat Development Initiative, has unveiled the 2024 Edo and Ondo governorship election ballots integrity report. The team lead and executive director of KDI, Bukola Idowu, says the report indicates some improvements in the nation's electoral system. Timothy Yusuf reports.
The title is Assessing the Integrity of the Ballots.
Unveiling of the KDI Ballot Integrity Report on 2024 Edo and Ondo State governorship elections. Team lead Bukola Idowu noted that the findings showed some noticeable improvements in the uploading of results on the IREF portal for both states, with 90% of the results uploaded before midnight on the day of the elections. But however, noted that some discrepancies and inconsistencies were still observed.
Compared to 2023 general election, the major issue around that election was about the result not going on IREF. However, we have seen that improvement in Edo and Ondo. Now,
a professor of political science and former National Electoral Commission Commissioner, Adele Jinodu, said for the country to move ahead, a lot still needed to be done about election management. He spoke on the topic, protecting the vote, ensuring electoral integrity through credible result management practices.
Let people organize themselves at the ward level or the polling unit level where elections are conducted and make sure that the elections are not violated.
Many submitted that elections are complex events to organize, and because they are very complex, mistakes are inevitable as human beings. They urged the citizens to be vigilant and protect their votes, terminate the watchman's approach. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
This is the news at 11 on NTA News 24. Here is a recap of our top stories. Edo State Governor visits his Kano counterpart, promises that justice will prevail in the tragic case involving killing of travelers en route to Kano. NATI recovers $4.85 billion owed federal governments by oil and gas companies. Renewed Hope Agri Support Initiative of the wife of the president empowers women and young farmers in Ebonyi State. The Nigerian Christian Pilgrim Commission, NCPC, has expressed satisfactions with the success of the 2024 main pilgrim exercise to Israel and Jordan. The Executive Secretary of NCPC, Bishop Stephen Adegbite, gave the commendation during the arrival of the last batch of Christian pilgrims from the Holy land at the pilgrims wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The Executive Secretary, who spoke through the Director of Administration of the Commission, Sonny Ebiabo, commended the good conduct of the programs and applauded the service providers and staff of the Commission for excellent performance. He also lauded President Bola Tinubu for creating the enabling environment for pilgrimage to thrive in Nigeria with his unprecedented support for the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria and NCPC.
Given by our grand handlers.
As a Christian, you have to imbibe such culture and let it be not only by mouth, but it should be within our life. Our life is the preaching.
Some pilgrims with the last batch expressed joy and excitement and shared their experiences in the Holy Land.
Spiritually, we are very healthy and strong. Our faith has revamped and we can really trust in what we see there.
God will give Mr. President wisdom, understanding, and the technical know-how to lead the nation aright.
The Commission successfully airlifted over 5,000 pilgrims in the 2024 main pilgrimage exercise, aside from those airlifted by private pilgrimage operators. The theme of the 2024 main pilgrimage exercise was Pilgrimage of Renewed Hope for Total Restoration. An African Union Commission is set to deploy the panel of the WISE to mediate on South Sudan political situation, and just as the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development's new report indicates the future of ocean economy is at threat. Let's join Uche Ugochukwu for stories making headlines on the global scene.
After cordial talks with President Salva Kiir of the Republic of South Sudan, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, Mahmoud Yusuf Ali, addressed the evolving political situation in South Sudan and the recent violence in Nasir. The chairperson reaffirmed the AU's unwavering commitment to dialogue, reconciliation and lasting peace, while expressing solidarity with the government and people of South Sudan. To enhance mediation efforts and support the full implementation of the revitalized agreement on the resolution of the conflict in South Sudan, RARCSS, a high-level delegation of the AU panel of the WISE, is being dispatched to Juba to engage with all the stakeholders to de-escalate tensions and promote dialogue. The AU calls on all parties to uphold all the provisions of RARCSS and ensure its full implementation. In a new report, the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development said the ocean economy expanded to $2.3 trillion in 2020, but various headwinds could hinder future growth. The report said if historical trends continued, the blue economy could be nearly 4 times larger by 2050 than in 1995. However, various forces could slow or even reverse growth by 2050 if no policy actions are taken.
If you look at where that heat is going, 93% of it goes into the world ocean.
The United Nations is hosting a major conference in the southern French city of Nice in June to specifically address these challenges and the sustainable use of the world's oceans. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
And that concludes the news at 11 on NTA News 24. Thanks for joining us. I'm Comfort Fashion.